Wife was going to prank her husband by lately deeply regretted about it. Donna is lying still holding her breath underneath the bed. She can literally hear her heart bouncing as she watched her husband standing in front of her. The woman wanted to prank him and add some fun to their relationship. Little did she know that her actions could lead to such drastic measures. Donna felt sick to her stomach while her heart was crumbling into small pieces. However, there was no going back. She was already under the bed. Donna and Mark Smith were only 17 when they first met. In a while, the two started dating until one day Mark braced himself and asked Donna to marry him. Now, the childhood lovers have their own 2 kids, and their marriage seems perfect to everybody else. Sometimes, people even asked Donna how she managed to get such an ideal husband. Yet, then one day, everything changed. With time, Donna started noticing that Mark's passion for her started fading day by day. He used to admire and compliment her every day, and his eyes sparkling with love and affection. Now, everything is different, and Donna started worrying whether there is a lover or was he nursing a secret addiction to something. The woman was absolutely determined to find the reason for what was causing her husband's distance, and when she found it out, she felt sick to her stomach. Donna didn't want to give up and let her marriage simply fall apart, so she decided to remember what absolute pranksters they were earlier. When being younger, the couple always played pranks on their friends and family. Donna decided to play a silly joke on her husband to test if he still loves her as much as he loved before. Little did she know that his reaction would leave her completely stunned. Before playing a prank, the woman decided to write down all her emotions and feelings that she thought were missing from their life together. While scratching everything on the note, the tears quietly sneaked up. Donna deeply loved her husband and truly wished he would share his feelings and love her as much as she does. She needed to know why he was treating her so cold. To make her husband reveal all his feelings, Donna wrote down everything that bothered her and was the reason for the divorce she wanted. Of course, she didn't want a real divorce. The logic behind this prank was to uncover his true feelings and get to the bottom of his faded love. Donna planned to hide underneath the bed and put the letter on its top. From there, she would be able to see her husband's true reaction when he would read it. Would he shed tears in shock, or would he be happy? No matter what, Donna was convinced her plan was ideal. After all, what could go wrong? However, she had no clue how things would turn up. The woman imagined her husband would cry his heart out, like in those rom-coms. Then, she would appear and calm him down with a gentle embrace while assuring it's just a prank. She would have gotten her answer and made sure her marriage was truly strong. The woman knew she had to write the letter as bluntly as possible. She needed to be harsh to get a reaction from him. Donna wrote how she felt the passion had been fading away and that she didn't love him anymore. After writing that last word, she breathed out and put the provoking letter on the bed while getting underneath. She was frozen while waiting on her husband, and when he came in, Donna realized it was the worst decision she had ever made. When she started thinking of what would happen if the prank would backfire and Mark's reaction would be completely different from what she was expecting it to be, it was already too late. Donna heard the front door slammed. Her husband was home. When he was going upstairs calling out her name, her heart was beating as fast as a junkie's. Her husband walked into the room, and Donna instantly realized she had made a huge mistake. There was dead silence in the room. It was obvious that the man was reading the note. Donna's nerves were on edge, while she could hear her heartbeat in her throat. It was too late now to change something. There was nothing Donna could have done to take back her intricate prank. She was just about to get what she wanted so bad, her husband's true feelings. Out of the blue, the man did something Donna could never think of. He started to laugh, pulled out his phone, and called someone. Was he calling her? Unfortunately, her phone was silent. "Hey you," Mark said. "Guess what? My marriage is finally over." "I know, right? I thought she'd never get the message. I'll be right over to see you," he said, and came out of the room. At that moment, Donna's heart got torn in two. She would give anything to turn back time, but it was impossible. Her worst nightmare had come true. No, even her worst-case scene hadn't looked like this. Who had he called? A lover? A friend? Anyway, she had to know it at any cost. When planning her prank, Donna hoped her husband would come running into her arms weeping. Instead, he walked out of their home cheered up. The woman barely dragged herself from under her stash, dealing with the emotional earthquake she had to experience a few minutes ago. Little did she know, she would be even more devastated in a while. Donna couldn't believe what had just happened. How could she live without him? They were the best friends and closest soulmates. It wasn't supposed to end like this. But then she noticed something on the bed. It was a note her husband might have left for her to put an end to their marriage. Without hesitation, Donna started reading the message. She could feel she was breaking into tiny pieces with every word she read. As she kept on reading down the page, she felt herself cry even harder as her husband wrote everything that she had been so afraid of. But there was something else she never expected to read. Her husband had written, "Dear wife, next time you try to trick me into proving my love for you, make sure your feet aren't sticking out from underneath the bed next time." What? She had been caught and her prank had backfired. Donna had never felt so humiliated as at that moment. In a while, she realized that he didn't even make a call. Now it was him playing a prank on her to get under her skin. On the flip side, her husband was easygoing enough to make a joke of it. But Donna knew she definitely deserved it. Playing with people's emotions will never lead to a happy end. Would her husband forgive her after all? Sometimes, people are willing to do anything to see where they stand with one another, but it's not always healthy. The only way to deal with such problems is to be honest with each other and trust in your partner. Who knows how long Donna's marriage lasted after displaying her manipulative actions? There will always be ups and downs in our life, and only trust and a real conversation can solve any issues in our way. We hope that this couple had learned their lesson and Donna never had to do crazy and cunning things like this ever again.